What's your caught in a NSFW situation at work? I caught a couple of married co-workers going at in the parking lot. They are married, just not to each other. I was a janitor in college dorms. I worked with this 160-something dude with bad legs. One day my supervisor walked in on him pants down jacking it in the janitor closet. The way he tells it. They both locked eyes. Then he just turned around and left. Fucking autocomplete on my Chrome search bar. Opened elephant tube instead of expenses. Company name. Alt and tab as if nothing happened. That night I shift plus delete all autocomplete, even the legit ones. For a while I was sort of dating our secretary. One day after work, after everyone had gone home, she came into my office and we ended up having a great time on my desk. About halfway through I picked her up and pushed her against the glazed glass wall of my office while she was straddling me. After I got tired, she turned around facing the glass and we continued until I finished. I had forgotten about the security cameras in the hallways and entrance. About 3 days later I get to work and there is a DVD and R on my desk. With a note. Hope you had fun, and it was of the camera that points almost directly at my office because it is on a corner. You could a lot more than I thought you could through those glazed windows. Security guy is either blackmailing me or a bro. I don't know if this counts. But I worked for a call center a couple years ago, and when we asked someone their name we had to say, "And who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?" Well, for some ducking reason why, I have no idea, I asked the lady on the phone, "And who do I have the pleasure of sleeping with today?" The girl who sits next to me looked at me wide-eyed, and then I realized what I said and apologized profusely. The lady on the phone just started cracking up and then told me her name was Marianne. Not me, but a past co-worker, we'll call him Bob Smith. He had logged into a shared computer in our lab one day, and he pulled up Outlook, and then turned around to do something with his phone while Outlook loaded. Well, let me tell you, our corporate mail filter failed that day. I walk in to see Bob turned away from the screen, and on the screen, in the Outlook preview pane, nearly full screened, was an email. Bob Smith, are you getting enough big black dick? And of course, this lovely email was accompanied by a picture showing exactly what they were talking about. Just in case you were unsure, I tried to suppress a laugh and just say to him, "Well, Bob, are you?" He looked at me. "Am I what? What are you talking about?" I point to the screen. He can't hit that delete button fast enough. The words "well, are you?" with no further context for anyone else overhearing, became a running joke between us. Telling my friend's story, with her permission of course, my friend had a big interview this day. She studied nutrition in college, and was interviewing with a hospital in Boston to work on their dietetics team. She went to the interview, and met with a hospital worker. Sat down and chatted for a bit. It was going well. So the interviewer asked if she wanted a tour of the area of the hospital she would be working in. She agreed. And the hospital was beautiful. But the interviewer seemed a bit awkward during the tour. She figured this was their way of politely ending the interview when they weren't interested, and tried to brush the awkwardness off and compensate by being more energetic, which only seemed to make the interviewer even more awkward. Finally, at the end of the tour when she was leaving, the interviewer admitted that she had a lovely sweater, but there was a lacy black thong stuck to her back from static. She had been parading around the hospital trying to talk herself up, all the while walking around with a thong displayed for all to see. Needless to say, she didn't end up working there, and to this day jokes about how if she's ever dying and we need to send her to a hospital, how she'd rather die than be admitted there. Only got caught peripherally in this one. One of my IT guys assigned to one of our regional offices kept getting help requests from one clerical, and most of the problems were questionable at best. She obviously just wanted to see him. One day he gets a call and goes up to her cubicle and she's standing there with her pants off. He backed out of that, put her on his do not respond list until things could get straightened out, and then called me for help since nothing he had done was working. Since she wasn't my employee, I picked up the phone and called the regional director. The initial contact was something like, "Hi. Regional, first name basis. You know, I've always supported casual Fridays. But don't you think no pants Fridays are a little too much?" Later edit. 1. Makes no difference what the woman looked like. Or the guy for that matter. Knowing the guy in question, he would have been deeply offended and upset whether she was Miss Universe or Godzilla's spawn. Simply not germane. 2. We had another similar instance a few years later with the genders reversed. The consequences were the same paperwork in the file and the employee soon leaving in shame. 3. I probably should have indicated that this was more than 3 decades ago when consequences for this sort of offensive conduct were on a different scale than now. Not me, but a close friend. He worked as a vet tech, cleaning kennels, walking the dogs, changing bandages, etc. He was good friends with a boss lady and she would bring her shepherd mix pups to stay in the kennels some weekends, especially if she was out of town or busy. One Sunday morning he ran up to take care of the animals and the pups were there. They love to play. So, after cleaning and caring for the other animals, he went into the run and was tossing the ball and roughhousing with these 2 dogs. One dog jumped on him from behind and its paw slid into his front pocket, pulling down his pants. Right at this moment, with his pants around his ankles, one dog in front waiting and the other behind him, he realized that maybe today was not the day to go commando, especially as his boss walks in at that precise moment to see him, with her beloved puppers, hanging out in all his glory. He called me when he got home laughing and crying. His boss simply took the dogs and walked out without saying a word. Fortunately, it wasn't a rom-com movie, so he was able to explain the next day. Her only comment was, "Let's remember to wear underwear from now on." Okay. I used to work in a call center for a major satellite TV provider. Other than the usual perv that would call to be gross, we had one dude who would call and just make us read off porno titles. "What do y'all have? Backdoor sluts 9. Busted blondes 2. Etc. All the while he would just beat his meat to ladies reading the names of dirty movies. Not quite caught. And not quite NSFW. But at work, comfy on the bowl, putting and reading. I finish up, reach for the toilet paper, and my back completely goes out on me. It felt like somebody kicked me in the spine and I couldn't move. It took me an hour to be able to move enough to wipe and get my pants up. Another hour to hobble into my boss's office to tell her where I had been, that I was in agony, and that I needed to go to the doctor. I ended up getting prescribed a month of physical therapy and therapeutic massages to get over that tragic wiping incident. I was working a construction job a long time ago and I was watching this beautiful woman who was walking down the street. Gorgeous legs, a short skirt and a low-cut blouse. I couldn't stop staring. But I probably should have, because I wasn't paying attention and I got slammed in the head by a 2x4 that was leaning against something and fell down. I was wearing my hard hat thankfully, but I was dazed for a moment and had to sit down. It was then that I learned to appreciate work safety. This happened about 10 to 12 years ago at this small, 60 people, company I worked for. A typical accidental reply all instead of a forward. Not as good as other replies in this thread. Anyways, this lady replied all to something with a joke that the punchline was a picture of this girl pulling her shirt up. I've tried unsuccessfully for about 10 minutes to find the joke as I can't remember it. Maybe someone here knows what I'm talking about. So I'm sitting there. Open the email, then 2 seconds later hear her screaming, "Oh God, no, 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 no." It was hilarious. We're both still there, but I suppose she got a firm talking to at the time. This happened to me yesterday. I was at a barbecue with some co-workers and friends, and we were all tossing a football around on the grass. Ball comes to me. I go for a slight dive, and then I hear this savage rip throughout my shorts. Everything ripped, and all my junk fell out in front of everyone. One homie was a team player and gave me his sweater to use as a kilt for the rest of the day.